Have you ever wondered what happens when a global superstar steps into one of the world's most historic traditions? And 2 years later, people still can't stop talking about it? Most Olympic torch relays become unforgettable memories. People celebrate them. They move on. But every once in a while, one moment refuses to fade. Instead, it grows even bigger with time. And that's exactly what happened with BTS Jin. 2 years after his unforgettable appearance at the Paris Olympic torch relay, the official Olympic account surprised fans around the world by bringing that iconic moment back into the spotlight. And the reaction was nothing short of extraordinary. What happened next proved that Jin's influence extends far beyond music. Let's dive into the story. On July 14th, the official Olympic account commemorated the second anniversary of Jin's participation in the 2024 Paris Olympic torch relay. Rather than simply mentioning the anniversary, they shared a special video capturing Jin carrying the Olympic flame through the streets of Paris, accompanied by the caption, 2024 Paris Olympic torch relay with BTS at Jin, followed by a flame emoji. It may have looked like a simple post, but the internet responded as if history had happened all over again. Within a short time, the post attracted an overwhelming wave of attention. Among all the content shared on the official Olympic account, Jin's anniversary post quickly became one of the most talked about, receiving an incredible number of likes, comments, and interactions from fans across every corner of the globe. People weren't simply remembering an event, they were reliving an unforgettable moment. Thousands of comments flooded in almost immediately. Fans proudly wrote, "As expected, worldwide handsome Jin. I am so proud of Jin, the little prince of Paris, the silver voice of wonderful talent." Many simply filled the comment section with purple hearts, Olympic flame emojis, and messages thanking Jin for representing not only BTS, but millions of fans worldwide. Even after 2 full years, the emotional connection remained exactly as strong. That alone says something remarkable. Very few Olympic torchbearers continue generating this level of excitement years after their relay. Yet Jin's moment continues to resonate as though it happened yesterday. To understand why, we have to go back to July 14th, 2024. Paris, France, French National Day, one of the country's most meaningful celebrations. On that historic day, Jin joined the Paris Summer Olympics torch relay as an official torchbearer. But this wasn't just another stop along the relay route. As a foreign participant, Jin received an exceptionally symbolic honor. He became the very first torchbearer assigned to the section leading directly toward the Louvre Museum, one of the most famous landmarks in the world, and a former royal palace deeply connected to French history. The significance of that role wasn't lost on anyone. Millions watched as Jin carried the Olympic flame through one of Paris's most recognizable locations, smiling warmly while enormous crowds lined the streets to cheer him on. The atmosphere felt less like a simple relay and more like a global celebration. Videos from that day quickly spread across social media. Fans shouted his name. Tourists stopped to record the unforgettable scene. People waved Korean flags alongside French flags. For many who witnessed it, the moment perfectly symbolized how music, culture, and sports can unite people from completely different backgrounds. International media quickly recognized that something extraordinary was happening. Long before Jin even carried the torch, France's largest weekly magazine, Paris Match, had already singled him out. In an article asking which celebrity would bring the Olympic torch to Paris, the publication highlighted Jin as the only foreign participant receiving such attention. That alone showed how much anticipation surrounded his appearance. But after the relay, their praise became even more memorable. Paris Match published another article calling him the Little Prince of the 2024 Paris Olympics. The publication even described Jin as a true prince who ascended the throne 235 years after the French Revolution. It was an elegant metaphor inspired by France's history and Jin's graceful presence throughout the ceremony. The nickname immediately spread around the world. Even today, many fans still affectionately call him the Little Prince of Paris. And France wasn't the only country paying attention. Across the Atlantic, Billboard recognized just how significant Jin's appearance would be. Before the Olympic Games officially began, Billboard published a feature highlighting 10 things to watch during the Summer Olympics. Guess what ranked first? BTS Jin's Olympic torch relay. Out of every sporting event, every opening ceremony, every major athlete, Billboard believed Jin's appearance deserved the #1 spot on its list of Olympic moments to anticipate. That alone demonstrated the incredible cultural impact surrounding his participation. Then came another remarkable acknowledgement. The Associated Press, one of the world's most respected news organizations, identified Jin as the most watched torchbearer of the entire relay. Think about that for a moment. The Olympic torch traveled through countless cities. Thousands of torchbearers participated. World champions, Olympic legends, national heroes. Yet the person attracting the greatest global attention was Jin. His appearance wasn't simply followed by K-pop fans. It became an international news story. His influence had crossed entertainment and entered one of humanity's biggest sporting celebrations. As time passed, public appreciation for that historic moment only continued to grow. Jin was later voted as the #1 best Olympic torch relay moment, once again proving how deeply his participation resonated with audiences worldwide. That's a remarkable achievement because the Olympic torch relay isn't about competition. It's about symbolism, hope, unity, inspiration. For Jin's appearance to be remembered as the most memorable moment speaks volumes about the emotional impression he left on millions of people. Perhaps that's why the official Olympic account chose to celebrate the anniversary so prominently. Some moments become history, others become legends. Jin's torch relay seems to have become both. What's especially fascinating is that none of this was tied to a music release, a concert, or an album promotion. There were no chart battles, no streaming competitions, no award ceremonies. It was simply one individual carrying a flame that represents peace, friendship, and the shared spirit of humanity. Yet somehow, that simple act became one of the defining cultural memories of the Paris Olympics. 2 years later, people still remember exactly where they were when they watched Jin walk through the streets of Paris. Some remember the excitement, others remember the overwhelming pride. Many remember the emotional feeling of seeing someone they admired representing millions of people on one of the world's biggest stages. That kind of memory cannot be manufactured. It has to be earned. And perhaps that's the biggest reason this anniversary attracted such explosive attention. The official Olympic account wasn't just posting an old video. It was reminding the world of a moment that continues to inspire millions. A reminder that influence isn't measured only by records, awards, or trophies. Sometimes, it's measured by whether people still smile when they remember something years later. Judging by the overwhelming response from fans around the world, Jin's Olympic flame is still burning brightly in the hearts of millions. And if one anniversary post can create this much excitement, who knows what unforgettable global moment he'll create next?